Somewhere, deep beneath the sands of time, there exists a world we may never truly understand. A civilization that once thrived with knowledge so profound, so far beyond what we consider humanly possible, that its traces now lie buried, obscured, and almost mythical. Across continents, from the stone ruins scattered across South America to the ancient temples of Egypt, whispers of this lost world echo through time, hidden in plain sight, yet ignored by the mainstream narratives of history. Imagine standing before a colossal stone wall, each block so precisely cut and fitted that modern engineers scratch their heads in disbelief. Who were the hands that built such monuments? And how did they acquire knowledge that seems to defy the very limits of human ingenuity? Legends passed down through generations speak of cities that vanished without a trace, of knowledge so advanced that it threatened the very rulers of the world. Some myths describe machines that could move enormous stones as if they weighed nothing. Others speak of the skies charted with astonishing accuracy, of calendars and astronomy that rival modern technology. Across the globe, stories share uncanny similarities, as if they all echo fragments of a shared memory, a memory of a civilization that existed before our recorded history, leaving behind only tantalizing clues. These tales often get dismissed as folklore, a fanciful creation of primitive minds. Yet, the persistence of these stories, appearing in distant cultures with no apparent connection, raises a haunting question. Could they be remnants of a reality far older and more sophisticated than we dare to imagine? In the deserts of Egypt, massive pyramids rise like monuments to a forgotten knowledge. Their alignment with the stars is precise, their construction seemingly impossible by conventional methods. Thousands of miles away, in the highlands of South America, another wonder of stone defies explanation. Terraces and temples carved into mountainsides with a perfection that makes even modern machinery blush. And in Asia, ancient texts hint at technologies and wisdom that remain indecipherable, locked in symbols that challenge even the most brilliant minds of today. These artifacts and texts, scattered across continents, hint at a civilization that understood the cosmos, the forces of nature, and perhaps even the very essence of human existence in ways that modern society is only beginning to glimpse. As we delve into this story, it becomes clear that this lost civilization is not simply a curiosity of the past. It challenges the foundations of what we accept as human history. It whispers of a world where knowledge was sacred, preserved, and perhaps deliberately hidden from those who were not ready to wield it. It teases us with glimpses of wisdom, leaving behind puzzles that scholars, archaeologists, and adventurers have attempted to solve for centuries. What if the tools of our ancestors were not primitive, as textbooks claim, but instruments refined with precision and purpose? What if the knowledge we think we've discovered is merely a fraction of what was once known, a shadow of a grandeur that civilization achieved long before recorded history began? The story we are about to embark upon is not one of simple exploration. It is a journey into mystery itself. We will follow clues left in stone and scripture, trace the whispers of vanished empires, and uncover hints that may forever alter our understanding of human potential. Every artifact, every legend, every fragment of evidence acts like a thread, pulling us closer to a revelation that seems both impossible and undeniable. The closer we get, the more the edges of history blur, revealing a tapestry woven with secrets, knowledge, and ambition that may have once spanned the globe. This introduction is not merely an invitation to wonder. It is a call to question everything we think we know. Because within the shadows of time, within the ruins that have withstood the centuries, lie the echoes of a civilization whose wisdom might surpass our own. And as we begin this journey, it is not simply about uncovering ruins or interpreting myths. It is about confronting the possibility that humanity has forgotten something monumental, something that could reshape our understanding of who we are, where we come from, and the limits of our own knowledge. The whispers of this forgotten world are faint, but they are persistent, beckoning us to listen, to imagine, and to uncover what has been hidden for millennia. Across the vast tapestry of human history, myths and legends act as fragile threads connecting us to forgotten truths. Long before archaeologists began cataloging ruins or scholars studied ancient texts, civilizations told stories, stories of gods, heroes, and cities that vanished beneath the sands, oceans, or skies. These narratives often seem fantastical, the stuff of imagination, but when examined closely, patterns begin to emerge. Across continents and epochs, these tales carry strikingly similar motifs, hinting at memories of a shared, lost reality. A civilization whose knowledge and power transcended the limits of ordinary human understanding. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerians described the Anunnaki, beings who descended from the heavens, bringing wisdom and technologies far beyond the ordinary. They were said to have taught humans to cultivate land, build cities, and harness the secrets of the stars. Thousands of miles away, in the ancient texts of India, the Vedic scriptures tell of flying chariots, precise astronomical observations, and knowledge of energies that modern science struggles to comprehend. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the Mayan codices and legends of the Popol Vuh recount civilizations that rose with astonishing sophistication, possessing advanced calendars, mathematics, and an understanding of celestial cycles. The striking consistency of these stories suggests a common origin, or at the very least, a shared memory that transcended geography and time. Atlantis, perhaps the most enduring myth of a lost civilization, captures this idea vividly. Plato described it not merely as a story of destruction, but as a powerful, advanced society whose wisdom and technology rivaled, and perhaps exceeded, even that of his own era. While skeptics dismiss it as allegory, the legend's persistence in human imagination for over 2 millennia cannot be ignored. Similar tales echo in the lore of the Pacific Islands, in the legends of Lemuria, and in scattered references across Africa and Europe. Each speaks of a time when humans, or perhaps beings far more knowledgeable than humans, held mastery over nature, architecture, and the heavens in ways that modern civilization struggle to comprehend. Even within mythology's more fantastical realms, fragments of possible reality emerge. Ancient Egyptian texts speak of Thoth, the god of wisdom, who supposedly handed down knowledge to humanity in writing, medicine, and astronomy. The Greek myths tell of Hephaestus and the gods crafting incredible machines and tools, while Norse sagas describe civilizations with immense knowledge of the cosmos and hidden forces. These stories, while often cloaked in symbolism, may encode truths, memories of a civilization whose knowledge was so vast that later generations could only describe it as divine or magical. Across the world, myths rarely exist in isolation. Instead, they form a mosaic, scattered clues pointing to the same underlying reality. What is particularly compelling is the recurrence of certain motifs. A civilization of incredible architects, a knowledge of the stars and cycles of time, sudden destruction or disappearance, and remnants of their wisdom preserved in sacred texts or monumental structures. It is almost as if these civilizations left encoded messages for future generations, knowing that their knowledge could vanish yet survive in story form. Oral traditions, too, carried these memories forward, weaving them into songs, rituals, and teachings, often shrouded in allegory to ensure they would endure. What might seem like myth may, in fact, be a sophisticated method of preserving history when writing or material records were vulnerable to loss. These legends also suggest that the lost civilization was not confined to a single region. Across vast oceans and continents, we see echoes of the same knowledge, architectural precision, astronomical expertise, and sacred wisdom mirrored in cultures that should have had no contact with each other. Could it be coincidence, or does it hint at a global network of knowledge, one that spanned far beyond what conventional history teaches? Perhaps, long before recorded history, humanity, or a predecessor civilization, achieved mastery over the natural and cosmic order, only to be scattered, forgotten, or deliberately erased. The persistence of myth also raises a chilling possibility that the knowledge was deliberately hidden or encoded to protect it from those who were not ready to understand or wield it. Some texts speak of forbidden wisdom, secrets too powerful for ordinary humans, left behind as warnings or preserved for a future age capable of comprehending them. This notion threads through the legends of countless civilizations, suggesting a deliberate transmission of knowledge rather than mere coincidence or imagination. As we examine these stories, one truth becomes increasingly clear. Myths are more than entertainment or moral instruction. They are echoes of memory, fragments of a reality that has long been obscured by time, natural disasters, or perhaps deliberate human intervention. Each tale, no matter how fantastical, is a breadcrumb leading to the possibility of a civilization that was far more advanced, far more knowledgeable than history books are willing to admit. The legends hint not only at lost technologies, but at philosophies, worldviews, and ways of thinking that challenge our modern understanding of progress and human potential. In exploring these myths, we are not merely revisiting stories of the past. We are peeling back layers of time to glimpse a civilization whose knowledge might have been suppressed, hidden, or simply forgotten. These stories, persistent across continents and generations, serve as an invitation to question what we think we know, to look beyond the accepted narrative, and to consider that humanity may have once walked a path far richer and more mysterious than we can imagine. And it is within these legends, cryptic and enduring, that we begin to see the faint outlines of a civilization whose wisdom still whispers across the ages, waiting to be rediscovered.
Scattered across the globe are remnants of a past that refuses to be neatly categorized. Megalithic sites, intricate carvings, and structures whose precision defies conventional explanation challenge the very foundations of our understanding of history. From the towering pyramids of Giza to the remote stone terraces of South America, the evidence hints at a civilization whose abilities exceeded what is attributed to ancient humans. These structures are not just impressive, they are a testament to knowledge, mathematics, and engineering that modern experts still struggle to replicate. And yet, the mainstream often explains them away as primitive effort, dismissing the possibility that a lost civilization once walked the earth with skills that rival or surpass our own. Take Göbekli Tepe, in southeastern Turkey, for example. This site, dating back over 11,000 years, is widely considered the world's oldest known temple complex. Massive stone pillars arranged in precise circles, decorated with carvings of animals and abstract symbols, hint at a culture that possessed extraordinary planning and understanding. There are no signs of advanced tools as we would imagine them, yet the stones, some weighing tens of tons, were transported and positioned with remarkable precision. How was it possible? How did a civilization so ancient achieve such feats without what we would consider modern technology? The questions mount, and the answers remain elusive, leaving a tantalizing gap in our understanding of human development. Thousands of miles away, the ruins of Pumapunku in Bolivia present an equally perplexing mystery. The stone blocks are cut with exacting geometric precision, some with interlocking joints so intricate that even today's engineers would struggle to replicate them. These are not random, crude constructions. They are carefully designed, mathematically precise works that suggest advanced knowledge of both geometry and tools. Archaeologists debate how such massive stones could have been moved and assembled with simple levers and manpower, yet the evidence remains. And while conventional explanations suggest that humans gradually developed these skills over millennia, the craftsmanship at sites like Pumapunku raises questions about the origins of this knowledge. Could it have been inherited from an even older civilization, a culture so advanced that its understanding of engineering far surpasses what we assume for ancient societies? Even the pyramids of Egypt, often cited as the pinnacle of human ingenuity in antiquity, contain mysteries that have baffled researchers for centuries. The alignment of the Great Pyramid of Giza with the stars, its precise measurements, and the massive limestone blocks, some weighing upwards of 80 tons, demand extraordinary planning and understanding of mathematics. Conventional theories suggest thousands of laborers over decades built the pyramids using simple tools, yet the scale, precision, and astronomical alignment suggest knowledge that seems almost otherworldly. How did they achieve such alignment without modern surveying tools? What purpose lay behind such perfection? These questions persist, haunting historians, architects, and scientists alike. Across continents, similar anomalies continue to surface. The ancient city of Teotihuacan in Mexico, built long before the Aztecs arrived, displays urban planning on a grand scale, with streets, temples, and pyramids aligned to celestial events. In the Indus Valley, cities such as Mohenjo-daro and Harappa reveal sophisticated urban planning, drainage systems, and architectural uniformity, pointing to a civilization with a profound understanding of engineering and community planning. What is remarkable is the consistency of advanced techniques across widely separated regions. Could these civilizations have developed these skills independently, or does the evidence point to a shared, forgotten source of knowledge? Then there are the artifacts, small objects whose existence raises more questions than answers. Consider the Antikythera mechanism, recovered from a shipwreck off the coast of Greece. This intricate device, dating back to at least 100 BCE, is often called the world's first analog computer. It could predict astronomical positions, eclipses, and celestial cycles with astonishing accuracy. How could ancient Greeks, thought to be in their pre-scientific era, have created such a device without the cumulative knowledge of previous civilizations? Could it be a remnant of lost wisdom, passed down from a far older civilization whose knowledge has otherwise vanished? Even more puzzling are the megalithic structures of Malta, the cliffside temples of Japan, and the vast earthworks of North America, like the Great Serpent Mound. These sites share an uncanny attention to celestial alignment, mathematical precision, and architectural sophistication. Their builders remain mysterious, often leaving no written record to explain their purpose. And yet, each site bears silent testimony to the existence of highly skilled people who understood principles of construction, astronomy, and perhaps even energy in ways that seem almost impossible for their time. The challenge is compounded by the fact that many of these ancient structures and artifacts have been partially destroyed or remain buried beneath layers of earth, hidden from view for millennia. Natural disasters, erosion, and human interference have erased significant portions of evidence, leaving tantalizing glimpses rather than full pictures. Even the surviving remnants are enough to spark debate, fuel conspiracy theories, and challenge the conventional historical narrative. What might we discover if more of these clues were unearthed? Could we piece together a story that radically alters our understanding of humanity's past? What binds these disparate sites together is not only their precision and scale but also the suggestion that they are part of a larger, interconnected narrative. Across continents, at different times, civilizations appear to have accessed similar knowledge that allowed them to construct monumental architecture, observe the cosmos with precision, and encode information in durable materials. Whether by coincidence, lost transmission, or inheritance from a predecessor civilization, the evidence is compelling. Something, or someone, was guiding humanity's hand long before modern records began. As we begin to connect these dots, a pattern emerges. The lost civilization we are seeking may not have vanished entirely but may have left scattered markers, encoded in stone, artifact, and monument. Each site, each relic, each anomaly acts as a puzzle piece, inviting us to question the assumptions of orthodox history. What we are seeing is more than impressive architecture. It is a map of forgotten knowledge, a trail that leads to a civilization whose understanding of the world may have far exceeded our own. And as we follow this trail, we are drawn deeper into a story that challenges our perception of human potential and the limits of what we believe is possible.
Across the remnants of ancient civilizations, scattered artifacts whisper a truth that defies conventional explanation. Human knowledge was once far more advanced than we are taught to believe. These objects, often small and unassuming, reveal a mastery of science, engineering, and astronomy that seems almost impossible for their era. From mysterious metalwork that cannot be reproduced even today to intricate astronomical devices, The evidence suggests a civilization whose technological capabilities may have far surpassed what modern history credits to ancient peoples. The question arises, what happened to this knowledge, and why does it seem to have vanished, leaving only tantalizing fragments in its wake? Consider the remarkable Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece. Dating back more than 2,000 years, this intricate device functioned as a sophisticated analog computer, capable of predicting eclipses, tracking celestial movements, and calculating complex astronomical cycles. Its existence challenges the assumption that ancient humans relied solely on primitive tools and crude calculations. How could a society believed to be in its formative stages of scientific understanding produce a machine so advanced? Some scholars suggest it may have been an inherited technology passed down from a civilization far older, one whose knowledge of mechanics and astronomy eclipsed even that of the Greeks themselves. Beyond machinery, there are metals and alloys that defy explanation. Ancient Indian texts describe weapons and tools with incredible hardness, while certain artifacts recovered in Europe and the Middle East contain metals and compositions modern metallurgy struggles to replicate. Even in Egypt, certain ceremonial objects and statues display levels of precision and material mastery that modern techniques can barely imitate without advanced machinery. These findings hint at a civilization that not only understood physics and chemistry, but also harnessed them to produce results that appear miraculous by today's standards. Could these techniques have been lost in time, destroyed by natural disasters, or deliberately suppressed to protect dangerous knowledge? Some evidence suggests that ancient engineers had an understanding of principles that we associate with modern physics. For instance, massive stone blocks at sites like Baalbek in Lebanon weigh hundreds of tons, yet they were moved and positioned with astounding precision. The level of planning, alignment, and force required seems almost inconceivable without machinery, yet no definitive tools have been found to explain it. Similarly, Egyptian pyramids demonstrate a mastery of geometry and astronomy, precisely oriented to cardinal points and celestial bodies. Ancient architects achieved this without compasses or telescopes, hinting at methods of measurement and understanding that remain a mystery to this day. Even the use of electricity is suggested in ancient texts and artifacts. The so-called Baghdad battery, a clay vessel containing a copper cylinder and iron rod, resembles a primitive galvanic cell capable of producing small amounts of electricity. While scholars debate its intended purpose, the design is undeniably functional, suggesting that experimentation with energy may have occurred far earlier than previously thought. Could the ancients have understood principles of energy storage and utilization centuries, if not millennia, before modern science rediscovered them? The very possibility challenges our linear perception of technological progress. Astronomical knowledge is another area where ancient civilizations demonstrate remarkable sophistication. Ancient star maps, observatories, and texts record movements of planets, solar cycles, and lunar phases with astonishing accuracy. The Mayans, for instance, calculated celestial cycles decades in advance, creating calendars that remain accurate even by today's measurements. Egyptian records, Indian Vedic texts, and Babylonian tablets all contain precise astronomical observations, often predating modern instruments. This recurring theme, advanced technology intertwined with knowledge of the cosmos, suggests a civilization that viewed science, spirituality, and mathematics as interconnected, not separate disciplines. But what makes this lost knowledge truly fascinating is the possibility that it may have been deliberately encoded or hidden. Some artifacts appear incomplete, as if parts of a larger technology were removed or lost. Others survive only in fragments, leaving modern scholars to speculate about their original purpose. Could these civilizations have safeguarded their most potent inventions, knowing that misuse could prove catastrophic? The recurring theme of secrecy, passed through myths, legends, and esoteric texts, hints at knowledge that was not intended for widespread use, or perhaps knowledge that was intentionally erased to protect future generations. We must also consider the role of cross-cultural transmission. Similar technologies, mathematical systems, and astronomical knowledge appear across civilizations separated by thousands of miles. Could a lost, global network of knowledge explain these parallels? Or is it more plausible that humans independently developed similar methods through trial and error? While mainstream scholarship leans toward coincidence, the precision, complexity, and consistency of these artifacts argue otherwise. The pattern suggests that an advanced understanding of technology existed, perhaps originating from a civilization whose existence was erased from mainstream history. These scattered pieces of evidence, when viewed collectively, paint a picture of a world where human ingenuity once soared far beyond the constraints of our recorded past. The tools, machines, and methods may have vanished, yet their echoes remain in stone, metal, and manuscript. They challenge the conventional timeline of technological development and hint at a civilization whose understanding of the world, mechanical, astronomical, and energetic, was far more profound than we are willing to accept. As we move forward, these glimpses of lost knowledge are not just curiosities, they are breadcrumbs. Each artifact, each anomaly, is a clue pointing to a civilization that may have mastered technology in ways that modern society is only beginning to rediscover. The question is no longer whether these achievements were possible, but why they disappeared. Was it a natural collapse, a deliberate erasure, or a combination of both? And most importantly, what can we learn from these remnants today as we strive to understand the depth of human potential and the forgotten wisdom that might still shape our future?
Scattered across continents are writings that remain undeciphered, mysterious, and hauntingly persistent, scripts that seem to hold secrets beyond the comprehension of modern scholars. These forgotten languages, carved into stone, inscribed on clay, or inked onto fragile manuscripts, hint at a civilization whose knowledge was not only advanced but meticulously recorded. Unlike the simple pictograms or early alphabets of ordinary ancient cultures, these scripts often defy conventional linguistic structures, suggesting an understanding of communication that could encode science, mathematics, astronomy, and even philosophy. Their very existence challenges our assumptions about the intellectual capacity of civilizations long erased from mainstream history. Consider the Vinca symbols of southeastern Europe, dating back over 7,000 years. These enigmatic markings, etched onto pottery, figurines, and tablets, predate Sumerian cuneiform, widely considered the world's first writing system. The symbols show consistent patterns and repetition, implying a form of language or coded communication. Yet despite decades of research, their meaning remains elusive. Could these signs represent instructions, astronomical records, or perhaps even knowledge that was deliberately encrypted to preserve it from outsiders? Each symbol hints at a society capable of abstract thought far earlier than traditional history suggests. Halfway across the globe, the Rongorongo script of Easter Island presents another puzzle. Inscribed onto wooden tablets, the intricate glyphs resist translation despite modern computational and linguistic methods. The designs combine pictorial representation with what appears to be complex sequencing, suggesting a sophisticated form of notation or record-keeping. Many researchers speculate that Rongorongo may encode knowledge of rituals, astronomy, or navigation. Its very survival on an isolated island thousands of miles from other advanced civilizations hints at a forgotten network of knowledge transmission or a once global understanding that later became fragmented. In the Indus Valley, the mysterious script of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro continues to baffle experts. Thousands of inscriptions, carved into seals and tablets, reveal a civilization with both literacy and bureaucracy, yet no Rosetta Stone exists to unlock their meaning. Some scholars argue the signs may encode trade records or religious knowledge, while others propose that these symbols hint at technological or mathematical principles we have yet to fully understand. The uniformity of the script across vast urban areas suggests standardization, implying that this civilization valued the preservation and sharing of information on a scale we rarely associate with such an ancient era. Even Egyptian hieroglyphs, often celebrated as deciphered, hold layers of meaning that go far beyond literal translation. Certain texts, particularly the pyramid texts and obscure esoteric writings, encode mathematical formulas, astronomical observations, and symbolic instructions for spiritual and practical applications. It is as if the ancients intentionally blended literal language with symbolic coding, leaving knowledge that could only be interpreted by those initiated or trained in their system. This pattern, encoding advanced information into symbolic language, is repeated across cultures, suggesting that the lost civilization we seek may have used similar methods to safeguard knowledge over millennia. The persistence of these forgotten scripts raises profound questions about the nature of human memory and the survival of wisdom. If these civilizations were capable of recording complex ideas in ways that resist modern decoding, what else might be hidden, waiting to be uncovered? Could there be knowledge of mathematics, astronomy, or even energy and mechanics encoded within symbols we have yet to interpret? And why was this knowledge left in forms so cryptic that it would resist rediscovery for thousands of years? Some scholars suggest that secrecy itself may have been a form of protection, a way to ensure that wisdom would survive while remaining inaccessible to those unprepared to use it responsibly. Across these scripts, certain recurring motifs and patterns emerge. Animal imagery, geometric shapes, celestial symbols, and repetitive sequences hint at underlying systems of knowledge. They suggest that writing was not merely a tool for communication but a repository of wisdom, combining art, science, and ritual. Each mark may encode multiple layers of meaning, accessible only to those who understand the symbolic framework, a coded system that modern researchers have only begun to glimpse. The implication is staggering. These scripts may represent the remnants of a civilization whose intellectual and technological sophistication rivals, or even surpasses, our own in some areas. And yet, much of this knowledge is lost to us, fragmentary and fragmented. Natural decay, human interference, and historical suppression have ensured that we encounter only glimpses of the full picture. What survives, however, is enough to spark curiosity, to ignite the imagination, and to challenge the very foundations of accepted history. Each script, each glyph, and each undeciphered tablet serves as a bridge to a past that refuses to remain silent. They beckon us to explore, to decode, and to consider that human civilization may have achieved levels of understanding far greater than we allow ourselves to believe. In studying these forgotten scripts, one begins to see a pattern. Knowledge was not only advanced but deliberately preserved and concealed. Whether this was to protect dangerous wisdom, to maintain social order, or to encode instructions for future generations, the intent is clear. The ancients valued information highly, and they recognized its power. Their writing was not merely communication, it was a safeguard, a repository, and a guide. And if we pay close attention, these silent, enigmatic symbols may yet reveal secrets that have remained hidden for millennia, whispering across time the story of a civilization whose wisdom could forever alter our understanding of human history. History is not only written by the victors, it is often erased, altered, or deliberately hidden. Across millennia, countless discoveries, texts, and technologies have vanished, leaving only faint echoes of their existence. These losses were sometimes the result of natural disasters, wars, or neglect, but in many cases, there is evidence suggesting deliberate suppression. Libraries burned, scrolls lost, and inventions hidden all hint at the fragility of human knowledge. And in the ruins and fragments that remain, tantalizing clues emerge, pointing to a civilization whose wisdom was so profound that it may have been actively erased to protect or control it. Perhaps the most famous example is the Library of Alexandria, a beacon of knowledge in the ancient world. Scholars traveled from all corners of the Mediterranean to study its vast collections of texts, manuscripts, and scientific treatises. Yet over time, fire, conquest, and political upheaval destroyed the library's contents. We can only imagine what knowledge was lost: astronomy, mathematics, engineering, medicine, and history that might have rewritten our understanding of human civilization. What if this repository had preserved the works of a civilization far older and more advanced than our textbooks acknowledge? What secrets vanished with those scrolls, leaving us to piece together fragments of wisdom scattered across the globe? Other examples of lost or suppressed discoveries are more subtle but no less compelling. Ancient maps, for instance, depict coastlines and continents with a precision that defies conventional dating. The Piri Reis map of 1513, drawn on parchment and surviving against the odds, shows detailed knowledge of the Americas and even Antarctica centuries before modern exploration. How did these mapmakers acquire such precise geographic information? Some suggest that the knowledge was inherited from a forgotten civilization, preserved secretly and passed down through select channels, only to resurface sporadically through chance or careful preservation. The notion that important information was deliberately hidden or lost is hard to dismiss when confronted with such anomalies. Even physical artifacts raise questions about the continuity of knowledge. The ancient Greek Antikythera mechanism, capable of predicting celestial events with incredible precision, seems to appear almost in isolation. Why was such sophisticated technology lost for centuries, only to be rediscovered in the modern era? Could the disappearance of such devices be part of a broader pattern, in which advanced knowledge was deliberately concealed, either to prevent its misuse or to control who had access to it? Across history, the tension between revelation and suppression recurs, suggesting that knowledge is a form of power, and power has always been carefully guarded. Religious and esoteric texts also reveal signs of suppression. The Dead Sea Scrolls, long hidden in caves and only partially recovered in the 20th century, contain writings that challenge established religious narratives. Similarly, the Nag Hammadi Library, discovered in Egypt, preserves Gnostic texts that were deliberately hidden for centuries, containing philosophical, spiritual, and possibly scientific insights considered too dangerous or heretical for the mainstream. In these cases, knowledge did not disappear by accident. It was hidden with intent, preserved in secrecy until the world was ready, or thought ready, to encounter it again. Suppression of knowledge is not confined to ancient times. Throughout history, inventors and scholars have faced persecution for ideas that challenged prevailing paradigms. Galileo's astronomical discoveries, deemed heretical, were suppressed by the authorities of his time. Nikola Tesla's advanced experiments with energy and wireless transmission faced bureaucratic obstruction and misappropriation. Even today, certain scientific breakthroughs remain classified or under restricted study, hinting at an ongoing tension between human curiosity and institutional control. The pattern is clear. Knowledge, especially knowledge that could change the course of society, has always been both a blessing and a threat. The implications for lost ancient civilizations are profound. What if the wisdom of a forgotten culture, preserved in temples, texts, and artifacts, was systematically erased to prevent humanity from accessing it? Could the repeated disappearance of advanced technologies, lost manuscripts, and unexplained artifacts be more than coincidence? Some scholars and researchers argue that much of what we consider anomalies, stones perfectly cut, devices we cannot replicate, maps that predate known discovery, are remnants of knowledge that was deliberately buried, scattered, or hidden, waiting for a future generation capable of understanding it. There are also instances of knowledge being partially preserved but intentionally obscured. Ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, for example, encode multiple layers of meaning, combining literal communication with symbolic and esoteric information. Similarly, certain Vedic texts in India employ intricate numerical and astronomical coding, which may have been designed to protect knowledge from the uninitiated. Across cultures, there is a recurring theme. Knowledge was both revered and feared. Those who held it understood its power and, in many cases, took extreme measures to ensure it would not be misused or fall into the wrong hands. Modern archaeology continues to uncover traces of this suppressed knowledge, often in unexpected ways. Buried temples, underwater ruins, and hidden manuscripts emerge, revealing evidence that ancient civilizations possessed capabilities we struggle to comprehend. Each discovery acts like a beacon, hinting at a larger, deliberately concealed body of wisdom. Yet for every artifact recovered, countless others remain lost, perhaps forever, reminding us that the story of human advancement is not linear. History is not merely a record of progress. It is also a chronicle of losses, erasures, and deliberate concealment. As we piece together these scattered fragments, a pattern emerges. Knowledge has always been both precious and perilous. The repeated disappearance of advanced discoveries suggests that human civilization has been walking a path guided not only by curiosity and innovation but also by caution and secrecy. The lost technologies, the hidden manuscripts, the undeciphered scripts, they are all part of a larger puzzle, pointing to a civilization whose wisdom was so profound it could not be left unguarded. And as we continue our exploration, we begin to see that understanding this pattern may be key to unlocking the mysteries of the past, and perhaps to reclaiming knowledge that humanity has long forgotten.
Step into the ruins of an ancient civilization, and it becomes immediately apparent that their understanding of architecture was far beyond what we attribute to early societies. Massive stone structures, perfectly aligned with celestial events, cut with precision that challenges modern tools, and built to endure millennia, speak of knowledge that appears almost otherworldly. From South America to the Middle East, from Asia to the islands of the Pacific, ancient architects left behind monuments that defy conventional explanation. Every corner, every block, every alignment suggests a civilization that understood mathematics, geometry, and physics in ways that remain enigmatic today. Consider the precision of Pumapunku in Bolivia. Here, enormous stone blocks weigh tens or even hundreds of tons, some cut with grooves and interlocking joints so precise that a human hair cannot fit between them. Modern engineers and stonemasons struggle to replicate this work, even with contemporary machinery. How did ancient builders quarry, transport, and assemble these stones with such exactness? There are no traces of cranes, pulleys, or advanced machinery that could account for this level of precision. Yet the stones fit together perfectly, as if guided by knowledge lost to time. The architectural mastery suggests not merely skill, but an advanced understanding of materials, weight distribution, and structural integrity. Thousands of miles away, the pyramids of Giza in Egypt present equally astonishing mysteries. The Great Pyramid alone consists of over 2 million limestone blocks, each cut and positioned with incredible accuracy. Its alignment with the cardinal points and the constellations implies a sophisticated understanding of astronomy. Inside, the Grand Gallery, King's Chamber, and complex passageways reveal knowledge of acoustics, ventilation, and weight management that modern engineers still debate. It is not merely construction. It is a symphony of geometry, physics, and symbolism, encoded in stone. Who could have achieved such mastery without advanced knowledge? And why has that knowledge vanished from history? The precision of ancient architecture is not confined to stone alone. In India, the temples of Khajuraho and the Sun Temple of Konark feature intricate carvings, perfectly proportioned structures, and precise alignments with celestial events. Across Asia, the Angkor Wat complex in Cambodia showcases extraordinary planning, with water systems, road networks, and temple architecture designed to mimic the cosmic order. Even in remote islands, structures like Nan Madol in Micronesia, built on basalt pillars rising from a sea, display engineering techniques that seem impossible given the available tools. Each site, while unique in style, shares a remarkable feature: the application of geometry, proportion, and planning far beyond what conventional history attributes to their builders. What sets these constructions apart is not just their size or beauty, but the integration of knowledge across disciplines. Ancient architects combine mathematics, astronomy, and engineering with spiritual and cultural symbolism. Alignments with solstices, equinoxes, or specific stars are repeated across continents, suggesting a global understanding of celestial patterns. The exactness of measurements, the interlocking stones, and the durability of these constructions hint at techniques that may have been transmitted from an earlier, advanced civilization whose mastery of geometry has otherwise been lost. The question arises, were these builders innovators themselves, or inheritors of knowledge deliberately preserved across generations? Many of these structures also challenge our understanding of material science. The stones at Baalbek in Lebanon, some weighing over 1,000 tons, are placed with such precision that even the tiniest misalignment would compromise the entire structure. The builders had no known cranes or modern machinery, yet they achieved perfect placement, suggesting advanced methods of leverage, balance, and measurement. Similarly, the masonry at Machu Picchu in Peru demonstrates an understanding of seismic stability, as the terraces and walls remain intact despite frequent earthquakes. This is not coincidental. It reflects intentional design and a deep understanding of natural forces. Even smaller-scale architecture, such as intricately carved temples, ceremonial platforms, and underground chambers, exhibits the same mastery. Across the globe, we find recurring patterns, precise angles, symmetry, interlocking stonework, and alignment with natural or celestial landmarks. These patterns indicate a civilization capable of systematic observation, calculation, and execution on an advanced scale. Yet, the knowledge of how they achieved these feats seems lost, leaving modern historians and engineers to marvel, theorize, and speculate. One of the most striking aspects of this ancient architecture is its endurance. While modern buildings often decay within decades or centuries, many ancient structures have survived thousands of years, withstanding earthquakes, floods, and human activity. This durability is not merely luck. It reflects an understanding of structural forces, materials, and natural phenomena. The ancients may have possessed knowledge of stress distribution, vibration absorption, and other principles of physics long before such concepts were formally recognized in modern science. The global consistency of advanced architectural techniques raises a profound question. Could these civilizations have been connected, sharing knowledge across continents, or did they independently achieve mastery that modern history considers improbable? From Egypt to South America, Asia to the Pacific, monuments of stone, terraces, temples, and observatories reveal a sophisticated understanding of geometry and engineering that transcends culture, location, and era. Each construction site serves as a silent testament to a civilization whose intellectual and practical knowledge was far ahead of its time. As we examine these feats, a pattern emerges. Ancient architects were not only builders but custodians of a hidden wisdom, encoding knowledge into the very stones they placed. Geometry, astronomy, engineering, and perhaps even spiritual insight were intertwined in their work, preserved in a way that endures long after the civilizations themselves have faded. Their monuments are not simply relics of the past. They are messages in stone, inviting us to decipher the techniques, principles, and knowledge embedded within. The question remains, how much of this understanding has been lost, and what could it reveal about a civilization whose wisdom was far beyond our own? When we examine the evidence of ancient civilizations, a striking pattern begins to emerge. Remarkable similarities in architecture, symbols, technology, and astronomical knowledge across widely separated continents. From the pyramids of Egypt to the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, from the stone terraces of South America to the sacred temples of Asia, there are recurring motifs that suggest more than coincidence. Could it be that a single, advanced civilization once existed, spreading its wisdom across the globe, or perhaps influencing distant cultures through networks long forgotten to history? Consider the pyramidal structures found on multiple continents. While the Egyptian pyramids are the most famous, they are by no means unique. In Central and South America, the Maya, Aztec, and Inca constructed pyramids with precise astronomical alignments and complex engineering, often independent of Egypt's influence, or so conventional history tells us. Yet the geometry, orientation to celestial events, and purpose as ceremonial and astronomical centers show striking parallels. Were these civilizations sharing knowledge, or were they inheriting traditions from an even older, global source now lost to time? Symbols provide another compelling clue. Similar motifs, spirals, concentric circles, animal carvings, and sacred geometry appear in the petroglyphs of North America, the rock art of Australia, and the temples of Asia. The recurrence of these designs in isolated cultures suggests more than mere coincidence. They may represent a universal language, a symbolic system used to encode knowledge or transmit spiritual and practical teachings across vast distances. This shared symbolic heritage could be evidence of a global consciousness or a single advanced civilization whose wisdom resonated across continents. Trade routes and maritime evidence further hint at global connections in antiquity. Ancient maps, such as the Piri Reis map, depict distant lands with astonishing accuracy, suggesting knowledge of geography far ahead of its time. Archaeological discoveries, such as unexpected artifacts found thousands of miles from their origin, indicate long-distance travel and cultural exchange. Could these exchanges have carried not just goods, but knowledge, engineering techniques, astronomical data, mathematical principles that shaped civilizations far removed from one another? The implications are staggering. Astronomical knowledge provides perhaps the clearest evidence of global connectivity. Civilizations separated by oceans and mountains observed celestial bodies with remarkable precision. The Maya developed calendars predicting solar and lunar cycles centuries in advance. The Egyptians aligned their pyramids with stars and solstices, and megalithic structures in Europe, such as Stonehenge, align with solstices and eclipses. These independent yet highly consistent observations suggest that ancient civilizations may have shared knowledge of the cosmos, a science encoded into stone, myth, and ritual across the world. Even construction techniques hint at a hidden connection. Precision-cut stones, interlocking masonry, and advanced understanding of stress and weight distribution appear in distant cultures that conventional history claims never interacted. In Peru, massive stones of Sacsayhuaman fit together with astounding precision, reminiscent of the technique used at Baalbek in Lebanon. In both cases, the tools and methods remain mysterious, as if inherited from a civilization whose knowledge transcended geography. Such architectural parallels suggest either a shared origin or the transmission of specialized techniques across great distances. Language and writing may also reflect global ties. The recurring motifs in undeciphered scripts, such as those of the Indus Valley, Easter Island, and southeastern Europe, hint at symbolic systems that share structural similarities. These scripts, often linked to astronomical, religious, or mathematical knowledge, may represent a global intellectual tradition preserved by cultures scattered across the planet. Could this indicate that writing itself was once part of a larger, interconnected network of knowledge, later fragmented into the isolated scripts we struggle to decode today? The notion of a civilization without borders is further supported by myths and legends. Stories of great floods, sunken cities, and celestial visitors recur in cultures that had no apparent contact. Could these shared myths be more than allegory? Perhaps they are the remnants of collective memory, narratives carried across generations and continents, preserving truths about a civilization whose influence spanned oceans and mountains. Each legend, while unique in detail, resonates with a central theme: a world in which knowledge, architecture, and wisdom were connected, widespread, and almost incomprehensibly advanced. Even modern discoveries hint at a global framework of ancient knowledge. Underwater ruins, submerged cities, and forgotten ports suggest a network of trade, cultural exchange, and communication previously dismissed by mainstream scholarship. Artifacts, architectural designs, and astronomical patterns scattered across the globe point to shared principles and methods. The emerging picture is not of isolated civilizations, but of a planet once united by knowledge, with systems, traditions, and technologies transmitted across continents, only to fragment over time, leaving behind tantalizing clues. As we consider these global connections, it becomes increasingly difficult to view history as a simple, linear progression of isolated cultures. Instead, evidence suggests a far more complex story, a civilization, or perhaps a network of civilizations, whose reach and influence span continents, leaving behind monuments, symbols, and knowledge that persist even in the absence of direct contact. These connections challenge our understanding of what ancient humans were capable of and hint at a lost intelligence that may have shaped the foundations of modern civilization. Ultimately, the scattered remnants of this civilization suggest a truth that is as humbling as it is exhilarating. Human history may have been far richer, more interconnected, and far more advanced than we have been led to believe. The artifacts, structures, scripts, and myths we uncover are more than relics. They are evidence of a civilization without borders, whose wisdom continues to whisper across time, inviting us to piece together the story of a world lost, yet never entirely forgotten. Throughout history, there have been glimpses of knowledge that seem to transcend time, appearing not in tools or architecture, but in words, prophecies, predictions, and writings that hint at an understanding of events and cycles far beyond their author's era. These predictions are scattered across cultures, from the cryptic verses of Nostradamus in Europe to ancient Vedic texts in India, from Mayan codices in Central America to the oracles of Delphi in Greece. While skeptics dismiss such writings as coincidence or poetic license, a deeper look suggests that some may contain encoded knowledge of astronomy, cycles of time, and even human behavior, a sophistication that might trace back to a civilization with insights lost to history. The Mayan long count calendar, for instance, demonstrates an intricate understanding of cosmic cycles. It charts not only days, months, and years, but also long periods of thousands of years, aligned with celestial phenomena. The completion of one of these cycles, which coincided with 2012 in the modern calendar, sparked global fascination and speculation about the Mayans' awareness of cosmic patterns and potential shifts in human consciousness. Were these merely religious or ritualistic calendars, or did they encode knowledge passed down from an older civilization capable of observing time on a scale that dwarfs our own historical records? In India, the Vedic and Puranic texts provide remarkable insights into astronomical phenomena and cyclic patterns of time. Descriptions of planetary alignments, eclipses, and celestial events appear with astonishing accuracy, suggesting knowledge that surpasses what we might expect from ancient civilizations. These texts also speak of ages of human civilization, cycles of creation and destruction, and shifts in human awareness, hinting at an understanding of a long arc of history. Could these prophecies reflect a memory of a civilization that observed time and events on a cosmic scale, passing their insights into cryptic verses to be interpreted by future generations? Nostradamus and other European seers, writing centuries later, seem to echo a similar theme. Cryptic verses that align with historical events with eerie precision. While some interpretations are undoubtedly retrofitted, certain predictions, particularly those concerning cycles of conflict, natural disasters, and astronomical events, suggest access to knowledge that may have been encoded, preserved, and transmitted from an earlier source. Could there have been a continuity of understanding, a secret tradition linking disparate cultures and eras, preserving knowledge of patterns that governed both human behavior and natural phenomena? Even in Greece, the oracles of Delphi provided guidance that often referenced cycles, omens, and celestial alignments. Visitors sought advice on wars, harvests, and civic decisions, receiving cryptic statements that often proved astonishingly accurate. The ancients believed these insights came from divine inspiration, but a more practical explanation could lie in careful observation of celestial patterns and natural cycles, encoded in a prophecy for those who could interpret them. Such practices may have originated from, or been influenced by, an earlier civilization with a deeper comprehension of time, cycles, and cause and effect relationships than modern society recognizes. The recurring pattern across these examples is the blending of observation, symbolism, and prediction. Many prophecies are encoded in metaphor, myth, and allegory, often designed to obscure their true meaning from the uninitiated. This suggests a deliberate effort to preserve knowledge while protecting it from misuse. Could it be that a civilization with profound insight into the cosmos and human development left behind guidance for future generations, hidden within what we now consider myth and prophecy? The possibility raises profound questions about the origins of human wisdom and the extent to which it has been obscured over time. Interestingly, some modern interpretations of these ancient prophecies suggest knowledge of astronomical and geological events. Predictions of floods, planetary alignments, and natural catastrophes recur across cultures, sometimes with uncanny accuracy. This raises the possibility that ancient civilizations observed patterns in nature and the cosmos with a precision lost to modern observers. Their ability to encode these observations as prophecy may have been both practical and symbolic. Practical, in terms of predicting cycles and preparing for change. Symbolic, as a method to preserve knowledge for those who could decode it. There is also the question of foresight regarding human behavior. Many prophecies reflect an understanding of the rise and fall of empires, cycles of war and peace, and shifts in societal structures. While humans may naturally repeat patterns, the sophistication with which these patterns are described suggests more than mere observation. It implies an analytical approach, an understanding of cause and effect, and perhaps access to historical knowledge from an earlier civilization. Could these predictions represent the distilled wisdom of a civilization that observed both the cosmos and humanity with unprecedented clarity? The persistence of prophetic knowledge across continents and cultures raises an even more intriguing question. Did this civilization deliberately encode lessons for the future? The recurrence of motifs, floods, celestial events, societal collapse, and renewal appears too systematic to be mere coincidence. These motifs may reflect an awareness of cyclical history, where events repeat with predictable regularity. Ancient civilizations, observing such cycles, may have encoded their insights as prophecy, ensuring that the knowledge would survive even if the civilization itself did not. As we explore these prophecies, a pattern emerges that is difficult to ignore. Knowledge of the future, whether through astronomical observation, natural cycles, or human behavior, may have been a hallmark of a civilization far older and more advanced than the history we have been taught. Their insights, preserved in cryptic writing, ritual, and legend, whisper across millennia, challenging modern assumptions about the linear progression of human knowledge. In decoding these prophecies, we are not only uncovering predictions, we are glimpsing the intellectual and spiritual legacy of civilization whose wisdom continues to resonate, hidden in plain sight. Ultimately, these prophetic traditions suggest that humanity once possessed a level of insight far beyond what we often credit. They hint at a civilization capable of observing, understanding, and predicting patterns of the cosmos and society. A civilization whose knowledge was both practical and symbolic, encoded for those who would come after. The echoes of this civilization are scattered across time and space, waiting for those willing to listen, to interpret, and to reconsider the very nature of human history and the mysteries of the past. Scattered across the world are objects that defy explanation, artifacts that, by all conventional standards, should not exist. These items, often ancient yet technologically sophisticated, challenge our understanding of history, materials, and the capabilities of early civilizations. From intricate metalwork that modern science cannot replicate to devices that hint at advanced mechanical knowledge, these artifacts are tantalizing clues to a civilization whose understanding of the world may have surpassed even our own. Each discovery raises questions, provokes speculation, and forces us to reconsider the linear timeline of human development. Take the Baghdad battery, for instance. A clay jar containing a copper cylinder and iron rod. It resembles a primitive galvanic cell capable of producing electricity. While scholars debate its purpose, the fact remains that it could function as a basic electrical device. In a time long before modern electricity, how could this have been conceived? Was it a simple curiosity, a ritual object, or part of a broader technological system lost to history? The very existence of such a device suggests knowledge of energy and materials far ahead of its era, hinting at a civilization that experimented with principles of physics and chemistry in ways we are only beginning to understand. Then there are the Antikythera mechanism and similar devices, often referred to as the world's first analog computers. Discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece, the mechanism could predict eclipses, track planetary movements, and calculate astronomical cycles with incredible precision. The level of craftsmanship, the interlocking gears, and the sophistication of its calculations are astonishing, especially considering the historical context. How could ancient Greeks, or their predecessors, create such a device without the accumulated knowledge of centuries of mechanical development? It is almost as if this technology was inherited from a civilization whose expertise in mechanics and astronomy far exceeded anything previously thought possible. Across continents, mysterious metallic objects challenge our understanding of metallurgy. Ancient Indian texts describe swords, tools, and armor of extraordinary hardness, while objects recovered in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia reveal alloys and compositions that modern science struggles to replicate. These items suggest knowledge of smelting, forging, and alloying that should have been impossible for the periods in which they were created. How did ancient craftsmen achieve such results without modern tools, furnaces, or chemical understanding? Could these artifacts be remnants of a civilization that had mastered metallurgy in ways we are only beginning to rediscover? Even stone artifacts sometimes hold inexplicable secrets. The carved blocks at Puma Punku and Sacsayhuaman, with their precise angles and interlocking joints, have been called impossible by modern engineers. Some of these stones feature drilling, cutting, and polishing that seem far beyond the supposed capabilities of ancient tools. Were these techniques independently developed, or did they come from a source of knowledge now lost? The precision suggests an understanding of geometry, physics, and engineering that modern scholars cannot fully explain. Each stone, each block, acts as a puzzle piece, hinting at a sophisticated civilization that left behind only fragments of its technological mastery. Unusual artifacts are not limited to metallurgy or stone. Ancient maps, celestial globes, and astronomical devices indicate advanced observation and calculation. The Piri Reis map, for example, depicts coastlines and continents with surprising accuracy, including features that were supposedly undiscovered at the time. Similarly, globes and star charts from various civilizations show knowledge of the Earth and sky, far exceeding what is commonly attributed to their eras. These artifacts suggest that advanced observation, measurement, and understanding of the natural world were not isolated but potentially widespread, preserved in objects that remain enigmatic today. Some artifacts seem almost intentionally mysterious. Objects like crystal skulls, intricate mechanical devices, or unexplained carvings often appear in contexts that suggest ritual or symbolic use. While their purpose may remain unknown, the sophistication of their construction implies a civilization that combines science, art, and spirituality. These items challenge the notion that ancient societies were primitive. They reveal a depth of knowledge, intention, and skill that is often deliberately understated in mainstream accounts. Each artifact is a message across time, an invitation to reconsider what humanity was capable of and what knowledge might still be waiting to be uncovered. The recurring theme among these mysterious artifacts is that they hint at knowledge deliberately preserved, encoded, or hidden. Some may have been lost, destroyed, or suppressed. Others remain buried, waiting to be rediscovered. Yet the consistency of technological sophistication across time and geography points to a civilization or network of civilizations that possess knowledge far in advance of what is recorded in history books. Their artifacts survive as fragments, but together they weave a story of human potential, innovation, and perhaps even deliberate secrecy. In examining these objects, one begins to see a larger pattern. Humanity's history may not be a simple story of gradual progress, but a tapestry of knowledge acquired, preserved, and sometimes lost or hidden. These artifacts are not anomalies to be dismissed. They are clues, breadcrumbs leading to a civilization whose capabilities challenge our assumptions about the past. By studying them, we are piecing together a story of innovation, wisdom, and mastery that transcends time, offering a glimpse into a civilization that may have understood the world in ways that modern humanity is only beginning to comprehend. Ultimately, the mysterious artifacts scattered across the globe compel us to ask, if these objects exist, what else might remain hidden? What other knowledge was preserved, encoded, or lost? And could uncovering these artifacts lead us closer to understanding a civilization that, for all its brilliance, has remained largely invisible to history? Each artifact is a testament to human ingenuity, a puzzle, and a doorway into a world of knowledge that may have far exceeded our own. The search for answers continues, urging us to look beyond conventional history and reconsider the limits of what ancient humans were truly capable of. Hidden in the shadows of history are groups whose existence is whispered in legend, rumor, and rare manuscripts. Secret societies that may have preserved, protected, or even suppressed knowledge far beyond what ordinary humans could comprehend. These organizations, often cloaked in symbolism and ritual, are said to have acted as custodians of wisdom, guarding the discoveries, technologies, and philosophies of civilization whose depth remains largely unknown. Their secrecy, intricate hierarchies, and cryptic teachings suggest a deliberate effort to control who could access the most potent knowledge of the past. From the Freemasons in Europe to the Rosicrucians, and from the Hermetic orders of Egypt to the shadowy alchemical fraternities of the Middle Ages, these societies have long fascinated historians and conspiracy theorists alike. Their symbols and rituals are often linked to ancient knowledge, geometry, astronomy, and philosophy encoded in their ceremonies, architecture, and writings. Some argue that the hidden motifs in Masonic lodges or the secret teachings of Rosicrucian manuscripts preserve the intellectual legacy of a civilization whose wisdom was deliberately protected from the general population. Could these societies be the last living threads connecting us to a forgotten global intelligence? One of the most intriguing aspects of secret societies is their relationship with knowledge that challenges mainstream history. The Knights Templar, for example, were rumored to have discovered texts, maps, and relics of enormous significance, which were later hidden or destroyed. While much of their legend is shrouded in myth, historical records hint at sophisticated knowledge of finance, architecture, and perhaps even technology. Some scholars suggest that remnants of their discoveries were passed to later societies, ensuring that dangerous or transformative knowledge remained protected, or at least under careful control. Alchemy provides another lens through which to view these secretive custodians of wisdom. Practiced in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, alchemy was not merely an attempt to transmute metals. It was a complex system combining chemistry, spiritual philosophy, and cosmology. Alchemists often encoded their discoveries in allegorical texts, diagrams, and rituals to prevent misuse or to ensure only the worthy could understand. This practice mirrors the patterns seen in lost civilizations. Advanced knowledge deliberately encrypted to protect it from falling into unprepared hands. Secret societies, in many ways, continued this tradition, acting as the guardians of knowledge that might otherwise have vanished completely. In addition to intellectual preservation, secret societies often wielded influence, shaping the course of history in subtle ways. Their members, often elites or individuals with access to resources, could safeguard knowledge while controlling its dissemination. Documents, manuscripts, and artifacts were hidden in libraries, temples, and private collections, protected by secrecy, ritual, or even coded language. The intent was not always malicious. In many cases, it was protective, ensuring that knowledge powerful enough to change society or threaten existing structures would not be misused. Mystery schools and esoteric orders also suggest a deep understanding of science, spirituality, and the natural world. The Hermetic traditions, originating in Egypt and transmitted through Greece and the Arab world, emphasized a synthesis of philosophical, astronomical, and magical knowledge. Initiates studied mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and symbolic interpretation, often guided by complex rituals designed to deepen understanding and ensure ethical application. Some researchers argue that these teachings represent a thread of continuity, preserving fragments of a civilization whose intellectual and technological achievements were far beyond their time. The global distribution of these societies hints at a network rather than isolated groups. Similar symbols, rituals, and teachings appear across continents, suggesting shared knowledge or principles derived from a common, ancient source. Whether through oral tradition, manuscripts, or encoded artifacts, secret societies may have acted as the final stewards of knowledge once widespread, now fragmented and hidden. This network of preservation ensured that, even in times of collapse or suppression, certain wisdom survived, waiting for those capable of rediscovering and understanding it. Yet, secrecy is a double-edged sword. While these societies may have preserved knowledge, the deliberate concealment has also fostered suspicion, myth, and speculation. Legends of hidden treasures, lost technologies, and forbidden wisdom abound, some grounded in fact, others likely exaggerated. But even if partially mythologized, the consistency of their presence across cultures and centuries suggests a real historical function, safeguarding knowledge too powerful or dangerous for general access. In this light, secret societies are not merely mysterious curiosities. They are living connections to a past civilization whose wisdom was both profound and potentially perilous. Modern researchers continue to explore these societies, piecing together clues from architecture, texts, and oral traditions. The use of geometry, celestial alignments, and symbolic language within Masonic lodges or Hermetic manuscripts reflects an understanding that mirrors what is seen in ancient ruins and artifacts. Could it be that secret societies preserve knowledge of advanced engineering, astronomy, or even philosophical principles from a civilization otherwise lost to time? If so, their rituals and teachings are more than symbolic. They are remnants of a sophisticated intellectual tradition, encrypted and hidden for protection. Ultimately, secret societies occupy a unique place in the story of lost civilizations. They embody the tension between revelation and concealment, preservation and suppression. Through their rituals, symbols, and networks, they have maintained a link to ancient knowledge, safeguarding wisdom that might otherwise have disappeared entirely. They challenge our assumptions about the linear progression of human history and remind us that understanding the past may require looking beyond what is recorded in mainstream accounts. The knowledge they protected may hold the key to unlocking the mysteries of civilization whose brilliance and influence still echo across time, hidden in plain sight, yet waiting to be rediscovered. Step into the ruins of ancient civilizations, and it quickly becomes evident that architecture was never merely about shelter, defense, or grandeur. For the builders of antiquity, every stone, every axis, and every alignment was deliberate, meticulously calculated to mirror the movements of the heavens. Prophetic architecture, a term used to describe structures aligned with celestial bodies and cosmic cycles, offers profound evidence of knowledge far beyond what mainstream history attributes to these societies. From pyramids to temples, observatories to ceremonial platforms, these structures suggest a civilization that observed, understood, and integrated the cosmos into the very foundations of human existence. The Great Pyramid of Giza is perhaps the most iconic example of prophetic architecture. Its base aligns almost perfectly with the cardinal points, north, south, east, and west, while its interior passageways point to specific stars and constellations. Some researchers propose that these alignments encode astronomical data, including the precession of the equinoxes, the position of Orion's belt, and even the movement of Sirius. The precision required to achieve such alignment, using tools and techniques available at the time, defies conventional explanations. It suggests that the builders were not merely engineers, but astronomers, philosophers, and spiritual visionaries, blending empirical observation with cosmic purpose. In Mesoamerica, the Maya offer equally compelling examples. Temples such as El Caracol at Chichen Itza were constructed as observatories, designed to track the movements of Venus, the Sun, and the Moon. The positioning of these structures allowed ancient priests to predict solstices, eclipses, and planetary cycles, integrating celestial observation with agricultural planning and ritual activity. The Maya calendar, encoded in stone and manuscript, reflects centuries of observation and meticulous record-keeping, demonstrating an understanding of celestial mechanics that rivals modern methods. Beyond functionality, these structures encoded cosmology and prophecy, ensuring that cosmic wisdom was preserved for future generations. Stonehenge in England reveals a different but equally sophisticated approach. Its circular arrangement of megaliths captures solar and lunar cycles, marking the summer solstice sunrise and the winter solstice sunset with remarkable accuracy. Evidence suggests that it also aligned with the extreme positions of the moon and certain star patterns, serving as both a ceremonial center and an astronomical observatory. The labor and planning required to transport and position these massive stones underscore the builder's commitment to encoding cosmic knowledge into the landscape itself. Such alignments, repeated across cultures and continents, hint at a shared understanding, or perhaps transmission, of astronomical principles that transcended geographic boundaries. The Sun Temple of Konark in India demonstrates the integration of symbolism, function, and cosmic alignment. Designed in the shape of a colossal chariot, it tracks the sun's movement, with its wheels marking the passage of time and its spires aligned to capture solar light during key events of the year. Carvings on the temple walls depict celestial patterns and astronomical symbols, creating a three-dimensional cosmological map. Similarly, Angkor Wat in Cambodia aligns with the solstice and incorporates water systems reflecting cosmic order, demonstrating that architecture could encode both practical and philosophical knowledge. These structures were not mere monuments. They were living instruments of observation and interpretation. Even smaller, seemingly modest constructions reflect prophetic intent. Tombs, platforms, and ceremonial enclosures often incorporate precise astronomical alignments. In Chaco Canyon, New Mexico, Puebloan buildings are oriented to capture solar and lunar events, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of celestial cycles that informed social, agricultural, and religious life. These patterns are consistent across time and space, suggesting either independent discovery of universal principles or, intriguingly, the preservation of knowledge originating from a more ancient, advanced civilization. Prophetic architecture also appears to serve predictive purposes. Many structures align with rare celestial events, such as eclipses, planetary conjunctions, or solstitial extremes. The integration of observation, architecture, and prophecy indicates that these civilizations understood time and cycles at scales far beyond a single human lifespan. Structures like the Great Pyramid or the Maya temples may have been designed to communicate knowledge across generations, encoding wisdom into stone that could guide societies for centuries. The symbolism embedded in prophetic architecture often blends science with spirituality. Temples, pyramids, and ceremonial platforms were designed not only to capture celestial patterns, but also to reflect cosmological and philosophical ideas. Alignments with the sun, moon, and stars may have symbolized divine order, social hierarchy, or spiritual enlightenment. By linking human structures to cosmic rhythms, these civilizations express the interdependence of earth and sky, mortal and divine, practical and sacred. Architecture, in this sense, became a language, one that communicated knowledge, power, and wisdom across generations. Global patterns reinforce the notion of an advanced understanding of the cosmos. From the pyramids of Egypt to the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, from the observatories of Mesoamerica to temples in India and Cambodia, we see a recurring principle: structures designed to encode celestial knowledge. This consistency challenges conventional historical narratives that portray ancient civilizations as isolated or primitive. Instead, it hints at a shared intellectual heritage, a continuity of understanding that may have originated from a civilization whose depth and influence remain largely unrecognized. The construction techniques themselves suggest mastery of engineering integrated with astronomical observation. Architects considered orientation, proportions, light, and shadow to align structures with the heavens. The precision required to achieve these alignments implies not only careful measurement, but sophisticated tools, methods, and a culture of observation spanning generations. Such achievements cannot be attributed to chance. They reflect deliberate planning, knowledge transmission, and a worldview in which human activity and cosmic order were inseparable. Prophetic architecture also demonstrates a profound understanding of time. Structures were designed to endure for millennia, preserving knowledge beyond the lifespan of individual civilizations. Their orientation, geometry, and integration with natural cycles ensured that even as cultures rose and fell, the encoded wisdom remained legible to those capable of interpretation. In this sense, architecture became both library and observatory, teaching future generations about the cosmos, cyclical patterns, and the philosophical foundations of the universe. The predictive aspect of these structures emphasizes an advanced comprehension of celestial mechanics. Alignments with solstices, lunar cycles, planetary conjunctions, and eclipses suggest that ancient architects understood periodicity, movement, and mathematical relationships between celestial bodies. These insights were likely used for agricultural planning, religious ceremonies, and social governance, integrating cosmic knowledge into the very fabric of daily life. The sophistication of this understanding challenges assumptions about the limitations of ancient societies, indicating that they may have inherited or developed insights that are still remarkable today. Ultimately, prophetic architecture embodies a fusion of observation, mathematics, philosophy, and spiritual insight. These structures were not only functional or decorative, they were instruments of knowledge, designed to capture and preserve humanity's understanding of the cosmos. They reflect a civilization, or perhaps multiple civilizations, that viewed the universe not as a distant abstraction, but as an active partner in human life. By studying these structures, we glimpse a world in which human ingenuity and cosmic awareness were inseparably intertwined. The global distribution of prophetic architecture suggests that the principles guiding these constructions were either widely shared or derived from a common source. This raises profound questions about the origins of such knowledge. Were these principles independently discovered across cultures, or were they inherited from a civilization whose technological, astronomical, and philosophical understanding far exceeded what history has preserved? The precision, consistency, and integration of these structures imply an intellectual legacy that may have traversed continents, influencing generations of builders, astronomers, and spiritual leaders. In conclusion, prophetic architecture is more than an archaeological curiosity. It is a testament to the sophistication, vision, and foresight of ancient civilizations. It embodies knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, engineering, and philosophy, encoded in structures designed to endure for millennia. These buildings, observatories, and temples serve as time capsules, preserving insights into cosmic cycles, celestial mechanics, and a philosophical understanding of humanity's place in the universe. They challenge modern assumptions, inspire wonder, and offer a tangible connection to civilizations whose wisdom transcends time. To study prophetic architecture is to peer into the mind of a civilization that saw the heavens not as distant and separate, but as intimately linked to the fate, knowledge, and spiritual life of humankind.
Long before telescopes, satellites, or modern observatories, ancient civilizations looked at the heavens with an acuity that continues to astonish astronomers today. Their eyes, trained through generations, observed not just the movement of the sun and moon, but the cycles of planets, the rhythm of stars, and the subtle shifts in the night sky. Across continents, from the jungles of Central America to the desert of Egypt, the mountains of India to the islands of the Pacific, evidence emerges that these societies did not merely watch the skies. They measured, calculated, and encoded their observations with precision that rivals modern instruments. This celestial knowledge hints at a sophistication inherited from a civilization far older and more advanced than mainstream history often acknowledges. The Maya of Mesoamerica provide one of the clearest examples. Their observations of Venus were so precise that they could predict its cycles decades in advance. The Dresden Codex, one of the few surviving Mayan manuscripts, contains tables detailing the movements of Venus, eclipses, and the lunar phases. These calculations were not casual observations. They required exacting measurement, mathematical skill, and long-term record-keeping. Their ability to track celestial events with such precision raises a compelling question. How could a civilization without telescopes, lenses, or modern mathematical notation achieve such accuracy? Some researchers argue that the Mayans inherited astronomical knowledge from a precursor civilization, passed down through ritual, observation, and encoded wisdom. Egypt offers a parallel marvel. The Great Pyramid of Giza and associated temples are aligned with remarkable precision to cardinal points and specific stars, such as those in Orion's belt. The ancient Egyptians observed precessional movements, slow shifts of the stars over millennia, and encoded them into their monuments. Temples and obelisks marked the solstices and equinoxes, serving as both calendars and cosmic observatories. Priests and scholars tracked these movements to maintain agricultural cycles, religious rituals, and social order. The precision of these alignments, often deviating only by fractions of a degree, suggests a methodical, empirical approach to observation that demands a level of sophistication rarely credited to ancient societies. Stonehenge in England stands as another testament to early astronomical mastery. Its circular arrangement of massive stones is precisely aligned to capture the sunrise during the summer solstice and the sunset during the winter solstice. Some archaeologists suggest that it also tracks lunar cycles and planetary alignments. The complexity of these calculations implies not only observational skill, but mathematical understanding, an ability to translate the movement of celestial bodies into a tangible, enduring structure. Its existence raises a tantalizing possibility. That humans across the globe, independently or through shared knowledge, were attuned to the cosmos in ways that modern science has only begun to grasp. Artifacts further confirm this sophisticated astronomical awareness. The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a Greek shipwreck, is often called the world's first analog computer. It tracked lunar phases, solar and planetary cycles, and even predicted eclipses, using a series of interlocking gears so intricate that it would take over a millennium for a similar device to be recreated. Comparable devices or astronomical artifacts have been found in China, India, and Mesoamerica, suggesting that advanced knowledge of celestial mechanics was not isolated to one culture, but may have been preserved or transmitted across civilizations. These instruments indicate an understanding of mathematics, mechanics, and celestial physics far beyond what is traditionally attributed to their times. The global consistency of celestial knowledge is striking. Temples, pyramids, observatories, and artifacts all point to a shared understanding of astronomical principles. The alignment of pyramids in Egypt, observatories in Mesoamerica, and temples in Asia suggests either remarkable coincidence or the transmission of knowledge from an advanced civilization whose insights influence disparate cultures. This consistency forces a reevaluation of historical assumptions. Did humanity independently discover these principles, or was there a lost civilization that encoded this knowledge and disseminated it across the globe? Mythology and oral traditions also reflect deep astronomical insight. Ancient stories often describe gods, spirits, and cosmic battles, but these narratives frequently encode astronomical cycles, celestial events, and planetary movements. Greek constellations, Egyptian deities, Hindu cosmology, and Mayan myths all demonstrate an understanding of the night sky that transcends mere imagination. By embedding complex astronomical knowledge into narrative form, civilizations ensured that critical insights were preserved, transmitted, and interpreted by successive generations, even when written records were scarce or lost. In addition to tracking celestial events, ancient civilizations appear to have predicted them. The Maya could anticipate solar and lunar eclipses decades in advance. The Babylonians tracked planetary retrograde motion with remarkable accuracy. Ancient Chinese astronomers recorded supernovae, comets, and unusual celestial phenomena with detail that modern science has validated. These predictive abilities suggest not only careful observation, but the development of models of celestial mechanics that could forecast future events. knowledge that some researchers argue could have originated from a more advanced precursor civilization. The integration of astronomy into daily life and ritual further demonstrates its significance. Agricultural cycles, religious ceremonies, and social governance were closely tied to celestial patterns. Festivals coincided with solstices, equinoxes, or planetary events. Temples were constructed to mark astronomical alignments, and rulers often legitimized their authority by claiming divine knowledge of the cosmos.
This intertwining of science, ritual, and governance illustrates a holistic approach to knowledge that contrasts sharply with the compartmentalized view of science and religion in the modern world. Remarkably, the precision and continuity of ancient astronomical records imply long-term observation and the careful transmission of knowledge across generations. Some alignments, such as those in Egypt, account for precessional shifts over millennia, indicating awareness of cycles far beyond a single human lifespan. Similarly, Mayan codices show patterns spanning centuries, reflecting a temporal understanding that anticipates modern astronomical calculation. These insights suggest a civilization, or civilizations, capable of preserving knowledge with extraordinary foresight, ensuring that their understanding of the cosmos would endure long after individual observers were gone. The implications of this celestial knowledge are profound. It challenges the notion that ancient humans were primitive observers of the heavens. Instead, they were scientists, mathematicians, engineers, and cosmologists, capable of integrating empirical observation with mathematics, mechanics, and cultural practice. Their achievements hint at an inherited wisdom, preserved through ritual, architecture, artifacts, and oral tradition, suggesting that human civilization's potential has always been greater than our historical records fully reveal. Ultimately, the study of ancient astronomy is more than an academic pursuit. It is an invitation to reconnect with a worldview in which the cosmos and human society were deeply intertwined. Structures, instruments, and myths collectively encode knowledge that endured millennia, guiding civilizations to observe, interpret, and harmonize with celestial rhythms. These insights challenge modern assumptions about technological and intellectual limits, suggesting that humanity once possessed, and may still be capable of reclaiming, knowledge that bridges the past and present, the terrestrial and the cosmic. The legacy of this celestial knowledge endures in subtle ways. Even today, modern astronomy continues to validate observations recorded thousands of years ago. Ancient alignments still mark solstices, eclipses, and planetary positions. Celestial cycles continue to govern agricultural and environmental patterns, echoing the careful observations of our ancestors. By studying and understanding these ancient insights, we not only gain knowledge of the past, but also a roadmap for reconnecting with natural rhythms and cosmic patterns that remain relevant to our world today. The remnants of this lost civilization, encoded in their observatories, temples, codices, and myths, offer humanity a tantalizing glimpse into what was once known and perhaps can be known again. They invite us to look beyond the accepted historical narrative, to question assumptions, and to explore the depths of human potential and ingenuity. In the skies above, we find both the record of our ancestors' understanding and the inspiration to pursue our own. The celestial knowledge of antiquity is not merely a relic. It is a living legacy, urging us to study, observe, and reach for the stars with the same precision, reverence, and curiosity that guided civilizations long before telescopes ever existed. Throughout the world, remnants of ancient engineering hint at technologies that seem far beyond the accepted capabilities of the civilizations that created them. From massive stone constructions to intricate mechanical devices, the evidence challenges the linear narrative of human progress and suggests the existence of knowledge lost to time. These technologies are often so sophisticated that even modern engineers struggle to replicate them, raising questions about who truly possessed the skill and understanding required, and whether a lost civilization once held the keys to advanced science and engineering. Consider the megalithic structures of Baalbek in Lebanon, where enormous stones, some weighing over 1,000 tons, were quarried, transported, and positioned with staggering precision. The logistics required to move these stones using only the tools we know ancient humans possessed defy explanation. Some suggest that unknown mechanical systems, possibly involving levers, pulleys, or techniques lost to history, were employed. The precision and scale of these constructions suggest not just brute strength, but a sophisticated understanding of physics, engineering, and material science. Across the globe, the precision-cut stones of Puma Punku in Bolivia reveal engineering skills that modern machinery finds difficult to replicate. Stones interlock with such exactness that a thin blade cannot fit between them, and some feature grooves, drill holes, and cuts that seem impossible to achieve with the tools attributed to the builders. The uniformity and accuracy suggest methods of shaping, measuring, and transporting stone that remain unknown. Could these techniques have been passed down from an advanced civilization whose knowledge exceeded that of the cultures we consider ancient? The Antikythera mechanism, discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece, provides another glimpse into lost technology. This ancient device, often called the world's first analog computer, could predict celestial events, track the cycles of the moon and planets, and calculate eclipses with astonishing accuracy. The complexity of its gears and calculations would not be replicated for over a millennium. Such a device indicates not only an understanding of mechanics and astronomy, but also a tradition of technological craftsmanship that seems far ahead of its time. Metalwork in antiquity also offers hints of lost technological knowledge. Artifacts like the Delhi iron pillar in India resist corrosion even after 1,600 years, suggesting advanced knowledge of metallurgy, alloy composition, and preservation techniques. Similarly, tools, weapons, and ceremonial objects from various ancient civilizations demonstrate materials engineering that exceeds expectations. These items imply a level of experimentation, observation, and practical application that challenges the assumption that advanced metallurgy emerged only in the modern era. Even ancient water management and infrastructure demonstrate engineering genius. The aqueducts of Rome, the irrigation systems of the Indus Valley, and the underground channels of ancient China reveal a deep understanding of hydraulics, flow control, and civil engineering. These systems were not only functional, but also durable, surviving centuries of use and natural disasters. The precision, planning, and integration of these networks indicate knowledge that blends practical engineering with sophisticated design, sometimes rivaling modern equivalents. Another remarkable example lies in the precision of astronomical observatories built into architecture. The Mayan observatories at Chichen Itza and Uxmal allowed precise tracking of celestial bodies. Structures like these required careful calculation, accurate measurement, and architectural execution that integrated observation with construction. The synchronization of architecture and astronomy reflects engineering mastery, a sophisticated fusion of practical and scientific knowledge rarely attributed to ancient cultures. Some lost technologies appear almost magical in nature. Carvings, tools, and mechanisms suggest an understanding of energy, vibration, and leverage that borders on the inexplicable. The precision of some stone drilling, the durability of metals, and the astronomical capabilities encoded in architecture point to a civilization capable of manipulating materials and phenomena in ways that defy conventional historical explanations. These are not isolated instances. They form a pattern, suggesting a widespread knowledge base, once accessible to multiple civilizations. The global consistency of these technologies hints at either shared knowledge or a common origin. Megalithic structures, advanced metalwork, and astronomical devices appear on different continents in ways that conventional history struggles to connect. Could it be that a lost civilization spread this knowledge across the globe, leaving behind techniques encoded in monuments, tools, and artifacts? Or were these skills independently rediscovered by societies that had inherited fragments of ancient wisdom? Either scenario challenges the conventional view of human technological development as linear and cumulative. Ultimately, The evidence of lost technologies forces us to reconsider the timeline of human advancement. These achievements, megalithic constructions, precise metalwork, mechanical devices, and integrated astronomical structures, suggest that knowledge existed in a civilization or network of civilizations far more sophisticated than mainstream history acknowledges. Their mastery of engineering principles, materials, and mechanical systems hints at a legacy of innovation deliberately preserved, transmitted, and sometimes hidden from future generations. The mystery of lost technologies is not simply about tools or structures. It is about human potential, ingenuity, and the possibility that we have inherited only fragments of knowledge once widespread across the globe. Every stone moved, every gear designed, every artifact created is a testament to intelligence and understanding that surpasses expectations. These remnants challenge us to look beyond the accepted historical narrative and ask, what else might humanity once have known, and how much of that knowledge is still waiting to be rediscovered? The story of human civilization is not only one of discovery and innovation. It is also a tale of concealment, censorship, and the deliberate suppression of knowledge. Throughout history, evidence suggests that certain discoveries, technologies, and insights were hidden, destroyed, or rewritten, often by those who feared their implications or sought to control their influence. This manipulation of knowledge has left gaps in our understanding of the past, obscuring the achievements of ancient civilizations and the true depth of human capability. Religious, political, and social authorities have long played a role in the suppression of knowledge. In medieval Europe, for example, texts deemed heretical or dangerous were burned, scholars were silenced, and libraries were destroyed. The works of alchemists, astronomers, and philosophers were often hidden or encoded to protect them from censorship. Similarly, in other parts of the world, ruling elites sometimes restricted access to sacred or technical knowledge, passing it only to initiates deemed worthy. These practices, while intended to maintain control, inadvertently erased the collective memory of societies that may have once been far more advanced than modern historians acknowledge. The fate of the Library of Alexandria serves as a haunting symbol of knowledge lost. Considered the intellectual hub of the ancient world, it is said to have housed scrolls and text from Egypt, Greece, Babylon, India, and beyond. Works on mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and engineering may have been preserved there, representing centuries of accumulated wisdom. Its destruction, whether by fire, neglect, or deliberate action, erased much of humanity's early knowledge, leaving behind tantalizing fragments in myths, inscriptions, and scattered manuscripts. The full extent of what was lost is unknowable, but the surviving clues hint at a civilization far more interconnected and scientifically sophisticated than the historical record suggests. Artifacts, too, have been subject to suppression. Objects that defy explanation, such as the Antikythera mechanism, crystal skulls, and advanced metallurgical items, have often been dismissed, hidden, or ridiculed by authorities unwilling to challenge mainstream narratives. Some discoveries were quietly shelved in private collections or governmental archives, away from public scrutiny. By controlling access to such artifacts, elites could prevent the spread of knowledge that might disrupt societal hierarchies or challenge orthodox understandings of history and human capability. Religious influence played a particularly significant role in shaping and suppressing knowledge. Sacred texts were often edited, rewritten, or censored to align with theological agendas. Myths and oral traditions that preserved knowledge of advanced civilizations were reinterpreted, sanitized, or marginalized. Practices associated with alchemy, astrology, and ancient astronomy, once seen as science, were recast as superstition or heresy. This deliberate reframing of knowledge ensured that only select interpretations of history were disseminated, leaving the true scope of human achievement obscured. Political powers, too, recognized the potency of knowledge as a tool of influence. Governments and rulers throughout history have seized, destroyed, or reinterpreted records that might empower populations or challenge authority. Maps, astronomical charts, and historical accounts were often altered, erasing the memory of discoveries, territories, or technologies that contradicted official narratives. Even today, hidden archives and unstudied artifacts hint at truths suppressed for centuries, waiting to challenge the accepted timeline of human history. The suppression of knowledge is not always the work of overtly malicious actors. Sometimes it is subtle, a byproduct of societal collapse, neglect, or the fragility of human memory. Yet the cumulative effect is the same: fragmented histories, incomplete records, and the perception that civilizations once had less understanding than they truly possessed. Across the globe, hidden texts, coded manuscripts, and mysterious artifacts point to knowledge that was preserved selectively, often for survival, secrecy, or control. The result is a patchwork history, leaving modern scholars to reconstruct a past deliberately obscured. Some researchers argue that secret societies and initiatory schools played a dual role, preserving knowledge while guarding it against misuse. By controlling access, they may have protected humanity from destructive technologies or ideas, even as mainstream history forgot the origins of these discoveries. In doing so, they became intermediaries, bridging lost civilizations with future generations. Symbols, rituals, and encrypted manuscripts served as repositories of wisdom, keeping critical knowledge alive even as it vanished from public awareness. The suppression of knowledge also extends to technological advancements. Reports of advanced ancient engineering, metallurgy, and astronomy were often dismissed as folklore or anomalies. Scholars and explorers who discovered evidence of these technologies faced ridicule or obstruction, delaying the recognition of achievements that challenged the conventional understanding of human history. Even today, certain findings remain marginalized in mainstream discourse, raising questions about who decides what is accepted as history and what is relegated to myth. Ultimately, the suppression of knowledge has shaped not just our understanding of history, but our conception of human potential. By obscuring the achievements of past civilizations, societies have limited themselves, forgetting lessons encoded in monuments, artifacts, and texts. These gaps invite speculation, mystery, and the possibility that humanity once possessed capabilities far beyond what we currently recognize. The fragments that survive hint at a world in which knowledge was vast, interconnected, and deliberately guarded, offering a tantalizing glimpse of a civilization whose wisdom was so profound that it had to be protected, hidden, and in some cases deliberately erased. This history of suppression forces us to reconsider what we know and what we accept. The lost technologies, prophetic architectures, celestial knowledge, and enigmatic artifacts scattered across the globe are not mere curiosities. They are evidence of deliberate concealment and selective preservation. They challenge the linear narrative of progress, suggesting instead a cyclical or fragmented history, where knowledge was attained, hidden, and sometimes lost, only to reemerge centuries later as fragments, clues, or mysteries to be unraveled. The question remains, how much have we truly lost? And if we can piece together these fragments, what might they reveal about a civilization whose wisdom, technologies, and cosmic understanding exceeded even our modern imagination? The pursuit of this hidden knowledge is not simply an academic exercise. It is a journey to reclaim a past deliberately obscured, offering the possibility of understanding human history and potential in a fundamentally new way. As we trace the fragments of a civilization lost to time, from its prophetic architecture and celestial knowledge to its mysterious artifacts and suppressed technologies, one question becomes unavoidable. What does this ancient wisdom mean for humanity today? Beyond curiosity or speculation, these remnants suggest a profound lesson about the nature of knowledge, the potential of human ingenuity, and the cyclical relationship between civilization and understanding. The legacy of this lost civilization is not confined to the past. It resonates deeply in the present, challenging our assumptions and inspiring a reevaluation of what we consider possible. The first lesson is the enduring power of knowledge. Across continents and millennia, fragments of wisdom survived fires, floods, conquests, and censorship. Astronomical observations encoded into monuments, technological marvels hidden in artifacts, and prophecies inscribed in manuscripts all persisted despite deliberate suppression and societal collapse. These remnants remind us that knowledge, once discovered and applied, is remarkably resilient. Even when civilizations fall, their insights can survive, waiting for rediscovery by those prepared to perceive and interpret them. The lost civilization teaches that wisdom is timeless, capable of bridging epochs and shaping generations far removed from its origin. Another aspect of this legacy is the integration of science, spirituality, and art. Unlike the compartmentalized knowledge of modern society, ancient civilizations, especially this lost civilization, viewed understanding holistically. Astronomy, engineering, metallurgy, and mathematics were interwoven with ritual, philosophy, and cosmic awareness. Temples aligned with stars, mechanical devices that predicted celestial events, and myths that encoded astronomical cycles illustrate a sophisticated worldview in which science and spirituality were complementary rather than contradictory. This integrative approach invites us to reconsider how we pursue knowledge today, highlighting the potential of interdisciplinary thinking and the value of connecting seemingly disparate domains. The lost civilization also challenges the linear narrative of human progress. Modern society often assumes that knowledge accumulates in a steady, continuous progression, with each generation building on the last. Yet the evidence of advanced technologies, precise engineering, and astronomical mastery in antiquity suggests a different pattern, one that includes cycles of brilliance, loss, and rediscovery. Knowledge may have existed, been forgotten, and later reinvented, implying that human potential has always been greater than our historical record fully reveals. This perspective encourages humility, reminding us that our present achievements are built on fragments of a much larger, more complex human story. Moreover, the artifacts, prophecies, and structures left behind by this civilization emphasize foresight and long-term thinking. The ancients designed monuments to endure millennia, encoded astronomical cycles into architecture, and transmitted wisdom through oral and written traditions with remarkable care. Their legacy encourages us to think beyond immediate gains and short-term perspectives, reminding modern society of the importance of foresight, sustainability, and planning that transcends our limited lifespan. Humanity's current challenges, environmental crises, technological ethical dilemmas, and societal instability demand a similar vision that blends knowledge, wisdom, and responsibility. The preservation and concealment of knowledge by secret societies also carry lessons from modern ethical stewardship. The ancients recognized that some knowledge, if misused, could be dangerous or disruptive. In their secrecy, they sought to balance the dissemination of wisdom with caution and responsibility. Today, as we unlock technologies of unprecedented power, artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and global networks of information, the question of how to wield knowledge ethically becomes paramount. The legacy of this lost civilization challenges us to consider the consequences of knowledge and the responsibility that comes with understanding. Celestial knowledge, prophetic architecture, and advanced artifacts collectively hint at a deeper understanding of the universe and humanity's place within it. The ancients' attention to cosmic cycles, alignment with celestial events, and integration of observation with cultural practice suggest that awareness of the natural world was more than utilitarian. It was philosophical, ethical, and deeply spiritual. Modern society, often disconnected from the rhythms of nature, might benefit from revisiting this holistic perspective, learning to observe, understand, and harmonize with the broader cosmos. In doing so, we may recover not only lost knowledge, but also a sense of balance and perspective that has been eroded over time. The global distribution of artifacts and architectural achievements implies that this civilization's influence was widespread. Even if the civilization itself disappeared, its ideas persisted, subtly shaping cultures across continents. From pyramids to observatories, from predictive calendars to encoded prophecies, these enduring contributions remind us that knowledge transcends borders and generations. They inspire curiosity, exploration, and a relentless pursuit of understanding, highlighting the universality of human ingenuity and the shared heritage of wisdom. Finally, the lost civilization invites us to embrace mystery, wonder, and the unknown. While much of its knowledge remains encrypted, hidden, or misunderstood, the fragments that survive spark imagination and inquiry. They remind us that history is not fully written, that discovery is ongoing, and that the universe holds secrets yet to be revealed. By studying these remnants, modern humanity can reconnect with the spirit of curiosity, creativity, and exploration that fueled our ancestors' achievements. The legacy of this civilization is thus a call to action, to seek knowledge, preserve wisdom, and approach the mysteries of the past and cosmos with both rigor and reverence. In conclusion, the civilization that once wielded knowledge beyond our time leaves a multi-layered legacy. It teaches the value of persistence, the integration of science and spirituality, the ethical stewardship of discovery, and the importance of foresight and holistic understanding. Its artifacts, prophecies, and structures challenge assumptions, inspire wonder, and offer lessons that resonate across millennia. To study them is to glimpse not just a lost past, but a guide for the present and a vision for the future. Humanity's encounter with this civilization reminds us that our potential is vast, our history richer than we realize, and our journey toward understanding far from complete. The echoes of this lost civilization are still audible today, whispered through stone, metal, and manuscript. Their legacy calls upon us to listen, interpret, and apply the lessons embedded within. By doing so, we honor not just their memory, but the boundless potential of human knowledge, a potential that, if rediscovered, may yet illuminate the path forward, bridging the ancient and modern worlds, and revealing that the wisdom of the past still holds relevance, guidance, and inspiration for humanity's future.